I'm Kimberly from Fat Quarter Shop. Today is May 20th, 2022, and I have a lot of stuff for you today. It's going to be really like a parade of quilts. The first thing I'm going to do is show you all of the quilts and projects that are in Home for the Holidays by Sherri McConnell and Chelsi Stratton. After that, I have 5 quilts back, totally finished, that I'm going to show you, and then I'm going to show you some new stuff that we have. So what I thought I would do is talk a little bit about the book, flip through it, show you a little bit about what's in the book before I show you all of the quilts. And when I show the quilts, I'll show the front, the back, and talk a little bit about the binding, because several of the quilts have scrappy binding. The book will ship in June 2022, but we have it for pre-order. So what you can do is just pre-order it today, and the second it comes in, we'll ship it out the next day. So again, the name of the book is Home for the Holidays, and I'm going to point out a couple of things in the book. So I'm going to flip and just show you the entire book, but I'm going to cover with my hand all of the cutting. So the first quilt is Christmas Eve, and when I show the quilts, I will be telling you the size and the fabric collection and what pre-cut friendly it is. Waiting for Santa, and this is great half square triangles. And there's also a little mug rug for that. Peppermint Twist. There's a Christmas star pillow. The book is 80 pages. And again, it's shipping in June. Crystal Sky Table Mates. That includes a table runner and some coasters. Amaryllis. So lots of projects and lots of quilts. Christmas Flowers Table Runner. This one is English paper pieced. I just want you to be able to see the photography that you're going to get in the book. Mistletoe. Farmhouse Flannel. And this one also has a little table runner that goes with it. And there's the table runner. Ornamental Table Topper. A tree skirt, and this one is awesome. I would totally make this for my house because it's just really quick. And then poinsettia. And as I'm showing the quilts, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the name of the quilt, the size, the collection, if it's what pre-cut friendly it is, any kind of tips, and then I'm going to hold it up. After I hold it up, I'm going to show the quilting on the front and the back. So the very first quilt that I'm going to hold up for you is the Christmas Eve lap quilt. The finished size is 62 inches square. Each block finishes at 12 inches. The fabric collection is Christmas Morning by Layla Boutique, and all of the collections in the book are actually all Moda fabrics. This one is fat quarter friendly. And a great thing about this one is if you wanted to cheat and use flying geese paper, you would just use 3 by 6 inch flying geese paper. And I'm going to hold it up for about 12 seconds. So I'm going to show you the quilting, and in the book there are several different quilters that they used, and in the book underneath the photograph of the quilt it does tell you who quilted it in case you want yours quilted like theirs. So there's some sashing, and the quilting's really nice. It's kind of peppermint. And then we'll show the other side. And again, this one is square. And I do love the border print, and I love how the sashing doesn't touch the border, since that is kind of a little bit different in the design. And another thing is sometimes, I don't know if you know this, but sometimes when you don't want things to touch, you put a blank border, and they call that a stop border, and it stops the design from the inside from fighting with the outside of the design. And the binding is the Christmas morning dot, and the backing is this print. It's not a piece backing. Several of these are, and I'll show you those in detail. So again, this is Christmas Eve. It is a lap quilt, and it's in the Home for the Holidays book by Sherri and Chelsi. And the publisher of the book is Martingale. Now these two, I'm just gonna sit here and then I'll talk through them. So these two coordinate. This is called Waiting for Santa Pillow. It's 20 by 26. Same fabric collection, which is Christmas Morning by Layla Boutique. It's charm pack friendly if you're not using the leftover fabrics. There are instructions in the book of how to do this hidden zipper. And it looks like this is a by Annie zipper. And if you can use H200 triangle paper to make this. And this takes a 20 by 26 inch pillow. We don't have one that size here, so that's why we're it's flat, but it could just be a table runner just like this. I do love the fact that it has this hidden zipper. I've actually never tried this, but one day I will. They also put in the book Waiting for Santa mug rug. It's 8 by 10 inches. Uses the same half square triangle paper, and both of these projects are charm pack friendly if you're not using the remaining fabric from the Christmas Eve lap quilt that I just showed you. And this is the backing that they used. So those are two kind of like little bonus projects. This next quilt is reds and greens, and on this one they used reds and greens from assortments of the different Sherri and Chelsi fabric collections over the years. So reds, greens, I believe this is a Bella Solid, and if you want to use triangle paper you would use H300 to make these. It kind of looks like a little peppermint. And again, this is scrappy using reds and greens. And this one, when I hold it up, I want you to see that it does have a scrappy binding, and it finishes at 58 by 67, and the blocks are 9 inches square. So I'll show you in detail the binding. So they use different greens. And because it's different greens, it's kind of hard to tell that it's scrappy binding. But it looks really good. And this is the same quilting, I believe, as the previous, or similar. So that's kind of a look at the scrappy binding. And this is the backing. It's not pieced. And then we're going to pull the quilts just so you can see the quilting and the different fabrics if you're trying to replicate the exact fabrics they used. And so you can see they kind of use the same fabrics like for the diagonal. And it's not pre-cut friendly. It's more like a yardage, written for yardage, if that makes sense. Of course, you could make it fat quarter friendly by, doing fewer fabrics. And you can just see how nice that scrappy binding looks. I've actually never done scrappy binding. And someone asked me why, and I said, oh, it's too much work. So that one is Peppermint Twist, and it has a peppermint quilting. The next project in the book is called Christmas Star Pillow. It's 18 inches square. The fabric is Hustle and Bustle by Basic Gray. So you would just need an 18-inch pillow form, and again, hidden zipper, and I'm pretty sure these are by Annie zippers, and they use the same binding as the backing. And actually, this fabric right here is Sherri and Chelsi fabric, and this is Hustle and Bustle. And most of the fabric collections here are last year or the year before's Moda fabric collections. It does take a while to get books published, so that's why. And then this one is just a crosshatch. And Sherri is saying in chat that she's designed a fun sampler using blocks from several of the projects that she will be doing this fall. So Sherri, definitely text me all that so I can join the fun. So this next project is the Crystal Sky Table Runner. It finishes at 15 by 55. The blocks are 9 inches. The border is scrappy rectangles. It's fat quarter friendly. And the fabric collection is Crystal Lane by Bunny Hill. And I love this backing. What they did is they put one piece here. This was a panel that went 23 inches this way and 44 inches this way. And then they just on the other side added that. So actually you could flip it over and have 2 table runners in one. For all the quilting designs on here, I'm going to refer to the book because the book, it doesn't say the name of the design, but it does tell you who quilted it. And of course, you can always kind of zoom in and look, but I don't know the exact pantographs. And along with this table runner, there are the Crystal Lane coasters. They're scrap friendly, so you could use a layer cake, and they finish at 5 inches square. And it looks like the binding on both of these is a Bella Solid. And you can see it's the same star, but different fabric placement. So this one has an extra fabric here where this one doesn't, and then this one has an extra fabric in the corners where this one doesn't. So this is a peek at this quilt before I hold it up. It's called Amaryllis. It's 60 inches square. The blocks are 14 inches. The fabric collection is Red Barn Christmas by Sweetwater. It's fat quarter friendly, and these are half square triangles, and you can use H200 paper to make those. So I'm going to hold this one up, and this one also has a scrappy binding, and scrappy in the terms that lots of different colors, not just green. So on here, I'm going to kind of rotate so you can see the binding a little bit, and then I'll pull the quilt. But they used red, green, and just alternated red and green. And I love that this is a Baptist. I do know that this is a Baptist fan. And again, Red Barn Christmas by Moda Fabrics and Sweetwater. And on this one, when they did the sashing posts, they did them all in black. So if you wanted to, you could always do a different color there. And this backing is just one fabric. So I'm going to show that to you. And I think this fabric is probably a Sherri and Chelsi. I don't think this is part of the Red Barn Christmas. And I do think all of these are very beginner friendly. This one maybe not so much. So this one is called Christmas Flowers. It's 17 by 43. It's English paper piecing. And if you're going to English paper piece, there's templates in the book, or you can use 1-inch hexagon pieces to make it. So it's English paper pieced. Once that's done, then they applicate it down to a square. This fabric collection is Christmas Figs by Fig Tree. And that's the backing. And it looks like it's custom quilted within each block. So this is probably the only one that I would say is not so beginner friendly, just because English paper piecing is kind of hard, but we do have lots of videos from Tula Pink on this channel to show you how to do that. The next quilt is called Mistletoe. It's 49 by 65. The blocks are 14 inches. This fabric is Merry and Bright by Me and My Sister Designs. It is fat quarter friendly and that same triangle size. If you want to use triangle paper, use H200. And H200 is actually the best selling size that we have. And this one, just notice, all of her sashing posts are the same, and it kind of ties it together. So I'm going to hold it up. I'm going to also show the backing because it's a pieced backing. And you can see they just alternated the reds and the greens for the outsides and the insides. And it's really cool how the stripes look. Now I'm going to show you the back. This one also has scrappy binding, all in red. And the quilting on this one is used in several others. It looks like a peppermint. And the back, I do not believe, I know the back is not from Me and My Sister Designs. It looks like it is from maybe Basic Gray, but it's definitely Moda. So that one is called Mistletoe Quilt. This next one is the biggest one in the book. It's called Farmhouse Flannel. The fabric collection is also called Farmhouse Flannel. The fabric is by Primitive Gatherings. This is half yard and fat quarter friendly. And a lot of times we get a lot of questions on manly quilts, and this is perfect. It's 64 by 80. And it's rather big, so I'll probably rotate it a little bit. And I did want to point out, I love the quilting on this, but if you look, the thread color she used just blends in beautifully with the back and the front. I'm a big proponent of not having your thread show, and I know some of you don't do that, and that's okay. I'm just showing you that I like the thread, and it's kind of like a little cable knit design. And to go along with the farmhouse flannel quilt, they designed a pillow. It's called Scrappy Stripes Flannel Pillow. And the other one was fat quarter and half yard friendly. This one is jelly roll friendly. This one fits a 15 by 30 inch pillow form, hidden zipper, 15 by 30 inches, and the fabric is also farmhouse flannel by Primitive Gatherings. So if you're looking for just like a manly pillow, it's kind of like a little pillow sham, super cute. And the flannel is so nice and soft. And this one they did also do the same binding as the same backing. And these are 1 inch cross hatches. And in the book, there's only one size listed. So if you want to make them bigger, you can just kind of draw it out. And this is called the Ornamental Table Runner. It's 27 inches square, 6-inch blocks. Now this is that same collection used at the beginning of the book called Christmas Morning by Layla Boutique. And it's fat 8 friendly. And this is a Bella Solid, and this is scrappy binding, all red. And then the backing is houses. And I'll give you a little tease and tell you that if you didn't get a chance to get Christmas Morning by Layla Boutique, a little mouse or a little birdie might have told me that the next collection that's coming out for Moda Christmas might look pretty similar. Since this is a Christmas book, it wouldn't be complete without a classic tree skirt. This is 50 inches in diameter, and I love this. I totally want to make it. The collection is Red Barn Christmas that you saw in another quilt. It's charm pack friendly, and they give instructions on how to, you basically, when you're doing something like this, you have your quilter, or do it yourself, you quilt it, and then you come back and cut your line and your circle and then trim it down. So I'm going to show it to you kind of holding it. I can peek my head through. That's so funny. And then there's little ties. And you could do, if you wanted to, you could do multiple ties across. To be honest, if I was doing this, I wouldn't do any ties because nobody's going to see behind the Christmas tree. I would just, I mean, mine's just going to have gifts. And then the flannel quilts are heavier than the cotton quilts. And for flannel squares, I think you use the same seam allowance. Sherri can definitely answer that for you. I haven't worked with flannel much, but as far as I know, it's the same. And again, the book is home for the holidays, and it will be shipping in June. So you can pre-order it today at Fat Quarter Shop. The last quilt from the book also has scrappy binding, all in red. The quilt is called Poinsettia, or Poinsettia. I never know how to say that. 64 inches square. The blocks are 12 inches. And the fabric collection is Hustle and Bustle by Basic Gray. A very similar quilt design that you saw earlier. And this one is fat quarter friendly. And this one, when I hold it up, I'm going to show you the front. And I'm also going to show you the back because it is pieced. And I'm going to hold it up sideways so you can see the backing. So anytime you are doing a quilt, for example, and maybe you don't have enough of fabric right here, on this one, like say you don't have enough of one fabric, but you have some more of others. That's a way you can just add to the left and the right and use up what you do have. So in the book, I want to answer any questions you guys have about the book. So I am going to kind of look through the book, look through your questions. The one question from Linda was, does the book use letters in cutting? And it doesn't. But what you could do, my tip to you would be, here's your cutting. I'm covering it because I don't want you to copy it. You could just handwrite A, B, C, D. If you didn't want to handwrite, you could just put these little sticky notes on there and just put A, B, C, D, and you can still use alphabetes. And I am going to show you the table of contents again, just so you can see how many projects it has. Rita uses Velcro on her tree skirts. That works beautifully. Yeah. And then Sherri is in the chat, so if you guys have questions on the book or anything, let her know. She's going to be having a sew along where she combines different blocks from the book into a sampler, so we'll be sewing along with that. And when I do it, I'll probably use an upcoming Moda Christmas group. So that's probably what I'll use. So from there, I am going to start showing you some quilts I have finished. So I have 5 that came back. I'm going to kind of show the back a little bit. So 5 quilts came back. Gina Tell quilted all of these. I will hold it up, but I want to show you. This is Brick House. It's a free PDF pattern on fatquartershop.com. And each house is made with a different collection and also a different background. I only used right here, I used 2070836 for my sashing and my outer border. And these 2 blocks right here are Sherri and Chelsi fabric. So I'm going to hold it up and then we'll kind of look at each block. And then the back. So I'll just show you, we'll just pull it so you can see all the different fabric collections. And because I finished this one early, it's supposed to be scrappy for 2022, I'm starting a second one. So this is Lori Holt, Sherri and Chelsi, Camille, Sherri and Chelsi. Lori Holt, Camille, Corey Yoder, Vanessa Gertson, Camille, Fig Tree, Stacy Itsu, Layla Boutique, Fancy House Designs, Corey Yoder, and Ann Sutton. And if you want the pattern, it's free on fatquartershop.com. I did use a Camille fabric for the back. For my binding, I used an older fabric by Bonnie and Camille that was in my stash, and it's like a ruler, or it's like measuring tape. So I had that in my stash, so I used it. And then the backing is here, and this is just the block condensed down, and this is more of the 2070836, and I sewed in a label. So that is Brick House. I started it in January and it is May 20th, so I got done pretty early. And I'll be moving on to the Scrappy Strings quilt with the rest of my scraps. So you'll get to see lots of fun quilts today. This is the Flea Market Quilt Along, and it uses the Flea Market book. I only sewed the baskets, and Lori designed a setting to use just the baskets. I'm also sewing the cross stitch. Gina Tell quilted this, and she put in the cloud vintage trim for me. And this is Flea Market basket fabric. This is a bee background. I think it's 9970 pewter. So I'm just going to show you this way. We'll hold it up too. And this one, my tip to you on this one is when you're cutting your squares here, obviously you would cut them the same size. Anytime I am working on a corner square or a setting square, I think this is the corner and this is the setting, I cut them an inch bigger. I sew it together and then I trim it down. So you can see all my points match. That's the only reason they match, because otherwise your bias will stretch. So you can see and I did the same on the back. So I'll hold it up and I'll also show you what I did on the back. So this one, on the back, it has my name kind of in the center. So this one is Flea Market Quilt Along. The next quilt I finished is the Chicken Salad Pieced Quilt. And then I'll show kind of this one's pretty big. And then this is the center on the back. So I'll show you up close. This is the top left. So this one we sewed with Lori Holt following her blog. So all you have to do is go to her blog. You'll see all the info. And this is I think it's sea glass, rickrack, vintage trim. And these are all patterns from her books. And I just did exactly what she did on her blog. The fabric collection is Chicken Salad. The fabric collection is Cookbook. And basically I used the free applique pattern and put in the pieced blocks from her books. And I just followed exactly what she did on her blog. And then I'm going to show you the back. I believe this is a 108. But I had a lot of fabric left over. It's going to be, let me see. So I had a lot of fabric left over. And a lot of them were little rectangle pieces from the front. When you cut these squares and rectangles for the setting, you had some extras. So I just trimmed them down, did a stripe across, put my label here. But when I did it, if you look, this is the center. The center's over here. So I actually didn't center it correctly. So it's not 100% centered, but that's my fault, not Gina's, just so y'all know. And I mean, I'm totally fine with it, but I did some kind of weird math that day. And I just did, so I changed the rickrack and the binding that was in the quilt kit. We are sold out of the quilt kits. We hope we can make some more, but it probably will be June. But we're almost to June. And this one's pretty big. It's 64 by 80. This next quilt is Sweet Dreams by SLOAN. And then the backing, I didn't do a piece backing. So this is a free pattern on SLOAN's blog. Her website is ilovetomakequilts.com. I use the cookbook collection, which is that same collection from the last quilt, except I just used one red, one aqua, and one dark blue, and then one background. I didn't change the design at all. And I did try to place my side border blocks in the same spot she did. And the only thing I would do different if I had to do it again is I probably would have added a background here just to make it more like cohesive. If I had to go back, I would probably do that. But I think it's because she used some darker fabrics for her inner borders and I didn't. And so that's why mine ended up looking a little bit different than hers. And then my backing is very simple. I did not have a lot of extra fabric left over. So if I do a piece backing, it really is decided by if I have leftover rectangles or squares, and I really had nothing left over. So I just did a 108 backing from Lori, and I just took a Sweetwater label, added it, and then just sewed it down. I didn't have enough fabric to do a piece across. But I do try to do a piece backing anytime I have extra fabric. But if I get to the end of a quilt and I don't have enough fabric, I'm not going to go and buy more, so that would be wasteful. This next one is my favorite, and I love the quilting on this one. So this is the Riley Blake Designs Challenge free pattern from 2022, except I made my blocks smaller. So I have not pieced my big one yet because I haven't decided on my setting yet. But I wanted to show you a couple things. Gina was so awesome, and she told me to send her some of spools of the Lori Holt crochet trim, and I sent her some, and she put it in here, and I didn't even understand what she was doing. So it's awesome. It looks so good. So, and it matches the red. And when you look at this, these blocks right here are pieced. These stars that you see, those are part of a panel from Quilt Fair. And I thought it just made the quilt really nice and simple. And I had my son lay this out, my son Will, and we just did aqua, red, blue, and pink. We actually had it laid out a little bit differently, but then I FaceTimed Lori and she had me move some stuff around so that it looked better. In the back, I did not want to buy extra fabric for a backing, and I didn't have enough to do a full big backing. So I had leftover pink and white that I hadn't used. I think this is, yeah, I think I was going to use it on the front and didn't, so I had a half yard. So I put that here. I had some leftover background from the front, some more leftover background, and then these squares are all from the panel. And this one is a quilt block that I didn't use on the front because I used one shorter than this, if that makes sense. So I needed fewer on the front, so I put one on the back, and these are just from the panel. And then I put my name right here. And I did it that way because if I did it this way, then it would have kind of been weird. So this backing could go either way, actually. so. Triple binding, that's good. So I'm going to take a couple of questions and then we're going to take a break. So put any questions you have in the quilt in the chat box. I'm going to take a quick little break and I'll be right back. I'm going to answer all your questions. So if you have a question, throw it in now, and then we'll go over some new items that have arrived. And I do have some more quilts to show you. I'm back. Thanks for letting me take a little break. I needed to have some iced tea. I wanted to say thank you for my super chat coming from Peggy Hinsman and Valeria Bauer. Valeria is always so positive and nice. I love that she's so positive. I'm going to answer any questions and then I'm going to show you a bunch of new stuff. I haven't done that recently. Do I ever sleep? I look forward to Fridays. I sleep a lot. I am just very efficient with my time during the day. For the Riley Blake Designs block, I believe that those were 10-inch blocks, so I made mine 5 inches. And I just got lucky that that panel, those little stars fit. I totally didn't plan that. It just happened accidentally. Now I do need to put my big quilt together. I just have not decided on the layout. The layout that they're gonna show is much larger. And I wanted my quilt to be a little bit smaller. So there's that. Do I get the patterns for the quilt-alongs before everyone else? As the last block in the Riley Blake Designs only became available this week. Yeah, I do. As a store or not, it's not just me. So like if you're a designer, you're gonna get stuff ahead of time. So I do that because I sew, like I basically will sew a whole quilt in a day. I have to do everything very, like when people say you don't sleep. No, I sleep. But what I do is I'm very efficient with my time. So I try to make all my blocks in 1 or 2 days. Have I done a tutorial on pieced backings? Yes, I have. So we'll have to link you to one. And every piece backing I do is different, and it really just depends on what I have left over. And because I'm trying to use the most efficient use of my fabric. Now I am keeping up with all of my scrap fabrics for the year. And what I'm going to do is at the end of the year or closer to fall, we're going to have a big giveaway, and I'm just going to have a big stack of fabric. Some will be starched, some will be unstarched, and I'll let one of you guys win it. Socialites 2, all the information on that will come out sometime in the fall. It will be similar to last year, where if you make the small version, you use a layer cake. If you use the medium or the large version, you'll need a fat quarter bundle. We haven't even finished designing it. How many quilts am I up to this year? I actually don't know, but I think I've started 30, 36, something like that. When the designers make the patterns, are they creating them freehand on grid paper or EQ? So every designer is different. Lori Holt hand draws everything she does on graph paper. And then if we write the pattern for it, we just convert it. And then if Riley Blake writes the pattern for her, they just convert it. Most designers don't use electric quilt. I use it because I'm very beginner at quilting, and I'm not really great with computers, and I can attest to that because this morning I missed my son's, I'm still a little bit upset about it. He was getting an award, but because they're doing state testing, STAR testing, which is the state test, there's a law that you can't have parents on campus those days. So you can't go to lunch with your kid or anything those days. So he was getting an award, but I couldn't see it. But then I never could join the meeting because, I don't know, it didn't let me or Kevin in. So I was upset. But I'm hoping that it happened to other parents so that they will request, like, be able to send us the video. On my piece backings, I use a 1/4 inch seam. So technically on the backs of quilts, the rule is to use a 1/2 inch seam. I never knew that rule for years and years. So I'd always done my backings with 1/4 inch. So I just do 1/4 inch. How do I not cut off points on star? And what ruler do I use to make them? I am just really careful with my cutting. I use lots of shortcuts. I've showed them throughout the live stream, and I'll keep showing you any kind of tips I come up with. I'm kind of meticulous. But I've been piecing for, 20, 25 years. So it just comes with experience. On my vintage trim, I did use large. Anytime I'm putting vintage trim in my binding, I always use the large. And the Martingale book doesn't say if it's beginner, intermediate, but you can tell kind of by looking. And Inga wants to know if she can buy full bolts of Moda 200 from Fat Quarter Shop if you live in Canada. Yes, I would just email elva@fatquartershop.com. So now before I show you what's new, I'm going to show you a couple pictures of my kids because I haven't done that in a while. So the first one, this is Emma. So she has moved from, she was doing competitive dance. She's no longer going to be doing that. She's going to be a cavalette for Lake Travis High School. And she got her outfit yesterday. And I was like, that is a lot of fringe. So I'm not sure how that's going to work out because I just see that fringe going everywhere. So super excited for her. They get to learn their first dance this weekend. And then the next picture, Will is on the right, Peyton is on the left. And this week, Will had a band concert and he got the Band Pride Award. He also was inducted into the National Honor Society, and he got 3rd place in UIL. And that's his twin brother on the left. And then the next photo is Christopher. He's my youngest, and he has just been playing basketball like crazy. And I think Kevin today is going to be signing him up for his 2nd basketball team because 6 games a weekend, that's not enough for us. We got to add. But he loves basketball. He also did sign up for football. So I'm just like, oh my goodness, I don't know. And then the next one is Peyton. He's on the left. He doesn't let me really take pictures, and when he does, he doesn't really like me to take pictures. But that's Peyton and his basketball team. And so tomorrow, there's 2 games in the morning for Christopher, 2 games in the afternoon for Peyton. They're both in Leander, which is really far. Emma has dance. Will doesn't have anything, so he'll probably go to some of the games. And then Sunday, it all starts over again. Same thing, dance. And depending on what they win Saturday will be when they play Sunday. And I'm supposed to go to like a tea with moms. I'm like, oh my God, that's like totally not my personality. So I don't know how that's going to go. How many yards are on a 108 wide bolt? Okay, so that depends. Mostly 15. Actually 12. Some companies, Moda does 12. I believe Riley Blake does 10 and 15. And I believe the other, Wilmington does 18. So every company does a little bit different. Have I ever had fabric bleed after starching? I have, but it's been years ago and I just threw the fabric away. Do I still use my Remarkable notepad for managing your diary and time? No, I need to get back to it. I need to charge it. That's the problem. But yeah, no, I don't. But I do have, like, I have lists everywhere. So I kind of change between notepads, the Remarkable, Excel spreadsheets, that kind of stuff. So we have some new It's So Emma quilt kits and patterns. So I'm going to show you those. This first one, I'm going to show it to you first on the table. It's called Alpine Blooms. This is Seashore Dry fabric from Sherri and Chelsea and Moda. It's an It's So Emma pattern, so you can buy the pattern as a paper or a PDF, or you can buy the kit. The kit is, and we're looking up the size. So Crystal designed this one. Carrie sewed it. And Gina Tell of Thread Graffiti quilted it. And it is 57 by 70. So really nice. It's a little bit bigger than a lap, but you know, really nice. And so this is Seashore Drive. We have another kit using this collection, and this is the newest collection by Sherri and Chelsea. This one is a Jolly Bar kit, so it's smaller. The background in here is the background from the collection. It's got little flowers, like little tiny daisies on it. And this one is 62 inches square. And then the backing is here. So I'm going to hold it up. Show it to you again. So Angel designed this one. Riley sewed it. And Gina from Thread Graffiti quilted it. So this one, this is a Jolly Bar kit. So with the Jolly Bars, the patterns only come in the kits. Eventually they come out in books several years after, and we do have a Jolly Bar book 4 coming soon. This next one is so fun. So this one is definitely advanced. I will definitely tell you that. So this is her backing, and this is the Night Sky pattern by Jaybird Quilts. Kenna made this, and she used a fat quarter bundle. There was a sew along with Jaybird Quilts using the Night Sky pattern. Gina quilted it, and I will give you a tip. There is a great tutorial on Jaybird's blog it's probably 12 years old, and it is a great tutorial on how to do well, first, when you're doing this, you need to use bias fabric or fabric on the bias, but she has, I guess, angled binding, but there's a great tutorial. So anytime I'm going to do binding like this, I would refer to Jaybird's blog. That's a great resource next time you need to do a quilt with a binding like that. The next quilt, I don't even need to hold up. It's so cute. It is called Away We Go. It's a little pea pattern. A little pea pattern they're named after my son Peyton. They're just small crib quilts that are fat quarter friendly. And this fabric is called Let's Play Fisher Price by Riley Blake. And when I saw it on from the sales rep, I was like, oh my gosh, we have to do something with this. So cute. So this is available as a pattern, paper, or PDF. It's 45 inches square, and it's a quilt kit. And then I guess I will hold it up. So this one, she did have to piece the backing. So I guess you can. It didn't fit all the way. So here's the front. And then I forgot to say, Sarah designed it, Sarah sewed it, and Gina quilted it. This next one is one of my favorites because I love this collection so much. I'm using this collection to make so many quilts. So this is a Jolly Bar quilt kit. So you can only get the pattern in the quilt kit for now. Angel designed it. Lori sewed it, and Gina quilted it. And it is 52 by 56, and the fabric is stitched from Fig Tree Quilts. The next quilt you've probably seen on our channel already. So pretty. So this one is a classic and vintage quilt, which means we give you the free block pattern. We have a free video, and then if you want to put it into like a quilt and you want to know, the sashing and all of that, we have a low price pattern. This collection is Hole Punch Dot by Ruby Star Society. And classic and vintage quilts are quilts where we take something we find that's vintage and freshen it up with today's fabrics. This one was designed by Crystal, Nova made it, and Gina quilted it. So that's the front, and here's the back. And Hole Punch is a basic by Ruby Star Society, and the designer of the fabric is Kimberly Kite. It's a 66-inch square quilt top. So this one, I wanted to show you the Ruby Star Club. Sometimes you guys comment and say, you never show modern stuff. We have plenty of modern things at Fat Quarter Shop, and I tend to just show you the stuff I sew because it is my live stream. But I wanted to show you the Ruby Star Club. When you sign up, you get 12 fat quarters a quarter with a free pattern. Crystal designs all of the patterns, and I think she makes all the samples. And she loves Ruby Star. So this is her design. And if you sign up now, you'll get the July shipment. And this is the January design. So there's still, I think you can order, if you type Ruby Star Society January Club, You can still get this. It's just a much higher price than the club members get it. And this does have metallic. So I'll hold it and show it to you. It's very big. I think it would fit a bed. So if you like modern, this is a great club to sign up for. And we can't show you the July design yet because it is obviously a club and we want it to be a secret. And Crystal does a great job of using most of the fat quarter so that when you get your fabrics, you use them up. All you have to do is add like a background and of course binding and backing. The next club I was going to feature is the Cave Club. And same thing here, except you get 20 fat quarters, so it's a more expensive club. If you sign up now, you will start with the August shipment. You get 20 fat quarters, and this was the design from February. And the same thing, Crystal designs these, and she tries to use up most of the fat quarter, and she always does a wonderful modern design. And the patterns in both clubs are only available in the club. They're never going to be released anywhere else as of now. And I'll show you what she put on the back. And Kaif is actually turning 85 this year, and I heard at Quilt Market in October for the stores he's going to have a breakfast, and I heard he's going to be at Festival. I've actually never met Kaif. And then we got a lot of new stuff in, so I kind of wanted to show you a couple of new things. This is the Decorum collection by Basic Gray, and the pre-cuts aren't here yet. The yardage though and the half yards are here because we cut the half yards in-house here. So Basic Gray's Decorum, if you look at it and you wonder why the pre-cuts aren't here, they're just not here yet. So sometimes the yardage arrives before the pre-cuts, sometimes the pre-cuts arrive before the yardage. Maple Hill from Kansas Troubles Quilters. This one, both yardage and pre-cuts are available. And I'm just going to flip through. It's a very traditional Kansas Troubles group. And the colors are very true to her original colors. So blues, greens, browns, reds. So luckily on this one we have everything. Threads that bind. This is the one everybody's asking about. Okay. So we now have the fat quarter bundle. Last time we had every pre-cut except the fat quarter bundle. Now we have the fat quarter bundle. The yardage is still not here, but it is expected to arrive next Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. And we are having some major issues with the freight companies that deliver to us in Austin. So there's not much we can do about it. It is related to everything going on in the world. And so we will get it as soon as that clears up. There's a couple other new motor groups that have arrived, and on all of the ones I'm about to show you, the pre-cuts are here, but the yardage is not. So this is Renew by Sweetwater. And I will flip through this one. Some days I can flip through this really good, and then some days not so much. And sometimes I'll show you bundles, sometimes I'll show you layer cakes. Lots of rainbows in this one. If you are in the Cave Club from an earlier date, you do not need to sign up again. This is Bonjour du Jour by French General. I swear I don't know how to say any of her names. And this is reds and pinks. Sometimes she has blues, but this one is only reds and pinks. And this one, pre-cuts are here, yardage is not available yet. And then Midnight Garden by Sweetfire Road. This one's lots of fun, bright colors like grays, yellows, pinks, and some blacks. So lots of new stuff has arrived. For a while we weren't getting anything new, but now we have like a ton of new stuff. This is Bees, really cute. We also put together, Carrie puts these together for us. They are bundles where we mix different designers from one manufacturer. So these are Riley Blake Blends Fat Quarter Bundles, and what these are, we call them one and done. We cut them, we order specifically for them, we cut them, and then when they're gone, they're gone. So this is Blossom, Frosted, and we try to do just different colorways, different looks, so that if you don't want to spend money on a 30-piece Fat Quarter Bundle or a 40-piece Fat Quarter Bundle, these are generally 12 to 16. And I love this one. And this one. So Americana, Dandelion, Frosted, and Blossom. And these just got cut, so I expect them to probably be sold out in 2 to 3 weeks. And then now I will just answer a couple more questions that have come in. Of course, if you have anything, if you throw it in. So kind of the way I do the live stream is like, if there's questions to answer, I'll keep talking. If there's not, then I end it because I don't have anything else. But I'm glad that I got to show you a lot of quilts today. A lot of my quilts, a lot of Sherri's quilts, a lot of modern quilts that all of our internal designers like Angel, Crystal, Nova, Sarah, Jocelyn, you know, lots of different designs today. Tracy is asking if Sherri and Chelsi will have 108 backings. You know, I haven't seen any, but I'm sure that Moto would make them, so that I think Sherri will hear that and see what she thinks. For the new Christmas books, I don't have any quilt kits planned because all of those were used with older collections that are now sold out. But because so many of them are pre-cut friendly, they should be very easy for you to kit up. And again, the books will ship in June. Gwen would like me to talk more about my string strip quilt I'm doing. So that one, the instructions are in the Scrappiness is Happiness book that will be coming out in June. And we have had questions on, you know, why are books taking longer to come in stock? And the reason why is there's a huge paper shortage in America. Huge. So we have to compromise, and you know, there's a lot of stuff going on. So that book, it would already been here if we were in normal times. We're not, but on that one, you're just gonna have to wait for the instructions. But I am gonna be sewing a lot more blocks and talking more about it in the future. On Jolly Bars, can you starch them? You can starch them if your pattern doesn't need the full 5 by 10. When you starch it, it'll come out 5 by 9.5 because it shrinks on one side. What happened to the inmate escaped with a female officer? They got caught and she shot herself. So she did die. Not that I want to say I predicted it, but and he's back in jail. There's another inmate out now, though. It's in Texas. And he's in Centerville. And I was trying to figure out where Centerville is. And I think that my cousin might live like near it. So I was going to look. I think she might live near where that is. Bonjour du jour means happiness of the day. How fun. Oh, yeah, that's cute. Am I going to do a sew along with Dwell? Okay, so I'll tell you. So from the newest bucket from Moda, Cinnamon and Cream, I am going to be doing the Socialites 2. Probably something else also. Dwell, I'm going to be making either a log cabin or courthouse steps quilt with the pink background. I'm also going to use Socialites 2 with it, and I'll probably use, so those are my two favorite from the recent bucket. So I'll definitely be doing a lot with those. How do I organize and manage my rulers? I actually just leave my small square rulers out in the brand new Lori Holt organizer, and all my long ones, I just have this long drawer and I just leave my rulers in there. I have to say your team makes the best quilt designs. Thank you. And I'm sure that they will appreciate that comment. Do I follow Duty Ron? I absolutely do. I watch all of his live streams. What future project did I need the snail trail paper for? I ordered it and forgot why. So on that, I am doing a sew along starts in June. We are going to have a blog post on it. I think I talked about it. Was it last week? Yeah, last week. And we're going to have a free layout that's not out yet, but I showed last week how to pack for a retreat. And so at that retreat, I am going to be sewing that. And so more details will be coming. I believe the blog post will be either later in May or early in June. And I am using Buttercup and Slate, I believe is the name. Which companies makes the softest 108 backings? I've bought some that aren't as nice, but I remember you said someone had improved in quality. Okay, all 108s have improved in quality from 10 years ago. The softest one by far are Art Gallery. Now, they're very soft and they're much thinner, but Art Galleries are the softest. I use Modas and Riley Blakes all the time, but 108s had a really bad reputation 10 years ago for being really rough and coursey, and they have all the companies have gotten better, so that's great. So guys, thanks so much for joining me today. I hope all of you have a wonderful weekend. I will be back next week with another trunk show. And so I hope to see you then. Bye.